Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to Bu Henny class. And this is a functional grammar class, okay? Okay, well, I would like to say, how are you today? Fine, Alhamdulillah. Okay, so just always keep spirit, although we are in an online learning now. So this is our first meeting today. It will be about adjective clause. Okay, well, before we go further to adjective clause, I would like to ask you one question. Still remember about clauses? I believe that you have already studied it in last semester, right? About clauses, everything about clauses, types of clauses, for examples. Now, today we will talk further about type of clauses. We have adjective clause. Have you ever heard adjective clause, by the way? No? Oh, yes? I believe that you have ever studied it when you were in high school. Now, let's go further. Let's see what we have here, guys. Okay, so this is the introduction of adjective clause. What is it, adjective clause? Maybe you have the experience when you have to explain to someone else about something or about a person, then you want to give some more explanation about the person or the thing. In this case, you can use this adjective clause. As it is written here that an adjective clause, an adjective describes or gives information about the nouns. Adjective usually comes in front of a noun. For example, we have, I met a kind man. Kind is an adjective and man is a noun. Kind man. So this adjective kind modifies the man. Kind man. Another example is, I met a famous singer. Which one is the noun? Yeah, right, singer. And famous here is an adjective. So the adjective modifies noun. Okay, now what about if we talk about adjective clause then? An adjective clause describes or gives information about a noun. An adjective clause follows a noun. Now I want you to look at the example first. There are two examples here. I met a man who is kind to everybody. I met a girl who is a famous singer. Okay, what do you know about man here? I met a man who is kind to everybody. I want you to pay attention on the red type clause here, yeah? Who is kind to everybody modifies a man. I met a man who is kind to everybody. So the man is very kind to everybody. And there is who here who explain the man and is kind to everybody here. We call it as an adjective clause. And the next example is I met a girl who is a famous singer. I met a girl who is a famous singer. Now pay attention on the red one. Who is a famous singer? Who modifies girl. And then who is a famous singer? That's an adjective clause. So that's why now you know that an adjective clause, it is a clause who describes or gives some more information about a noun. It can be a noun, it can be a person actually, but both of the examples are persons. Yeah. So those who type in the red color, it gives some more explanation to the man for the first example. And the second one, who is a famous singer, it gives some more information to the girl. And those two clauses in the red color, we call it as adjective clause. Okay. Now, if you take a look at further, you analyze the sentence. Yeah, it seems that there are two verbs. We have met and is, right? Okay. Now let's see further what we have here. Okay, so in adjective clause, we have subject pronouns. Yeah, we call it as who and which or that. Now, let's take a look at the example here. In A, the vendors will be relocated to the Central Park. The vendors sell on the main street. So in this case, you have two clauses on the left side and on the right side, right? But actually, you find some similarities between the subject. Both the subjects are the same. So that's why we can combine those two sentences or those two clauses into one using adjective clause. Yeah. So the vendors will be relocated to the Central Park. The vendors sell on the main street. Now, if we analyze here, we have the subject vendors and we have the verb will be relocated. And while another clauses, we have the vendors sell on the main street. So both the subjects are the same. So we can combine those two, become the vendors who sell on the main street will be relocated to the Central Park. Okay? Why do we use who? Anyone knows? Yeah, if you take a look at further here. The vendors who explain the vendors. Yeah, it's a person or people. And then who sell on the main street. This is an adjective clause. Yeah. And then you can substitute who with that in this case. Let's compare with another example here. Mobile phones are kept in the custom office. Mobile phones were smuggled to Indonesia. There are two clauses. Now we are going to try to combine them into one. So do you find any similarities? Oh, yes, of course. The subjects are the same. So you can use the mobile phones on the first clause and give some more additional information from the second clause and just blend or combine it into one. Mobile phone which that was smuggled to Indonesia are kept in the custom office. So mobile phone which were smuggled to Indonesia are kept in the custom office. So what's the difference? Why do we use who? When do we use which? So now you can read here. We use who, use for people as subject, and we use which, use for things as subject or object. Yeah. So now you know something about adjective clause, right? You can use the subject pronoun who when you are going to give some more information about someone or person or people. And you can use subject pronoun which when you want to give some more information about things or nouns. Yeah. And both who and which can be substituted with that. It is optional. Okay. Okay, now take a look at next slide. Oh, we also have object pronouns in this case. We use whom or which and that. Now I want you to take a look at the example here. The man was a chronically late employee. The new boss fired him. Now, do you find any similarities? So the man and him, yeah? Now, if you analyze the position of him here is as an object pronouns. So that's why you have to use whom to combine the sentence. So the sentence will be, the man whom the new boss fired was a chronically late employee. The man that the new boss fired was a chronically late employee. Or the man the new boss fired was a chronically late employee. Okay, well, now you know how to use whom. We use whom when you are going to explain or give some more explanation about someone when the position is as a object pronouns. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide then. What about whose and of which? We use whose to show possession and of which. Now, let's see the example here. Audience applauded the speaker. His presentation was very excellent. Okay, so what have you got here? Audience applauded the speaker. His presentation was very excellent. So whose presentation actually? The speaker's presentations. Yeah, you're right. So on the second clause, yeah, you know there is a clue of possessive, right? So that's why when you are going to combine these two clauses, you have to use whose. Audience applauded the speaker whose presentation was very excellent. So whose here explain about the speaker. Whose always followed by the noun being explained. Whose presentation. So the presentation is belong to the speakers. Okay. Okay, now what about other example? We have an antique table. The top of it has jade inlay. We have an antique table, the top of which has jade inlay. The top of it refers to the table. So that's why you are going to give some more explanation about the table. It has jade inlay in it. So that's why you can combine those two clauses into we have an antique table, the top of which has jade inlay. Okay, now what about where? I'm sure that you know when you use where, it deals with a place, right? So you are going to give some more explanation to a place, right? Okay, now let's see. The apartment is near my dad's office. My family live there. Now see, there is a place, the apartment, and there's also there. It's showing a place. So you can combine those two into the apartment where my family live is near my dad's office. Where explain the apartment. Where my family live, this is the adjective clause. Okay, so those two clauses can be combined into the apartment where my family live is near my dad's office. Why do we have to cross there? We don't need to rewrite again since it is already substituted with where in this case. As it is written here, where is used in an adjective clause to modify a place. Remember, where is used in an adjective clause to modify a place. It can be a city, country, room, house, or town. If where is used, a preposition is not included in the adjective clause. And where is not used, the preposition must be used. Now, next, we also have when in adjective clause. When talks about times or when deals with the time, right? Now, let's take a look at the example here. I will never forget the day we first met on the day. What a sweet examples. I will never forget the day. We have two similarities, the day and the day. So I believe that we can change the day into when. I will never forget when we first met. When is used in an adjective clause to modify time. It can be an hour, day, date, a month, year, or etc. Okay. Now, I think that you have already known about adjective clause then. Now, it's time for you to try to do the exercises. So, the first exercise, you have to choose the relative pronouns, yeah? There are 3 numbers here. I'll give you some time to think about while I'll try to do a review for you about what we have got today, talking about adjective clause, right? We use adjective clause to give some more explanations about someone or things. Yeah. And in this adjective clause, there is relative pronouns. We call it as relative pronouns. We have who, we use it for person. We have which, we use it for noun, but you can substitute both who and which with that. We also have whose to show possession. We also have when, showing time, and where to show place or to give some more explanation about place. Okay, so have you got the answer now then? Okay, let's see. Number 1. What do you think the answer is then? The police has caught the man who or which committed the theft last night. So I'll give you a clue, yeah? When you have such an exercises and when you have to decide the correct relative pronouns, so you just take a look at the closest noun to the relative pronoun. So what is the closest one? Oh, the man here, yeah? Oh, the man. So that's why you have to use who, right? The man who committed the theft last night. What about number 2? Oh, plans. Plans, that's the noun. So you have to choose which. And then number 3, this is the village showing a place. So you can choose where. This is the village where I was born. Okay, now let's see your answer then. Ta-da! You got right. The man who, and then for the plans which, and the village where. So now you know how to use the adjective clause, right? Okay, what about some more challenge in exercise 2 then? Try to combine those two and use the second sentence as the adjective clause. There are some clues. The red one, number 1, you can use who. Number 2, you can use which and whom for number 3, and whose for number 4 and 5. You can use of which, yeah? Okay, just first what you have to do is you have to find out which one that you are going to give the explanation more, whether it is the persons or it is a noun. For example, number 1, the student is from China. He sit next to me. So that must be the students, yeah? And he, and you can use the relative pronoun who in this case. And then I'm using a sentence. It contains an adjective clause. Which, yeah. So that must be the explanation for a sentence, right? And then whom. I like the woman. I met her at the party last night. So that must be the additional information is for the woman, yeah? I met her as an object, yeah. Number 4, is there any clue? Oh yeah, we have their native language. There is a possession in this case, their native language. And next, I live in a dormitory. It's a place, yeah? You can use of which, okay? So this is the answer K, but I still want you to write your own words, and then later you can text or you can put your answer into our WhatsApp group and we will discuss it together. Okay, thank you guys for today. It's nice to meet you. Just always happy and keep healthy. I'll see you sometimes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.